I'm aware how silly and odd this would sound to most people because they've lived their lives just listening. Now, I want you to hear, listen, and feel what I'm saying. I've said a lot about letters and numbers, but I want to tell you something. Look at the letter M, okay? Picture a normal 1, the kind that we have that's a straight line with that little stool on the bottom, like that's a flat line on the bottom line of the graph, a line coming up from the center of that, and the pointing to the left slash downwards, like that kind of 1. The one with the half an eye top, but slanted to the left. Now take one and make that half an eye top slanted to the right, and then join those two slants where they meet, and that's an M, okay? It's like from one that you don't see into one that you do see, with joining in the middle at that middle line would be a V. Now it's vital. So you have acting, vital, action. M, manifest, okay? Now, wow, that's pretty cool, but at the same time, M is a 1 and a 3, 13th letter, which is a 1, and if you lay the 1 down as if it was on the ground and laid the 3 down on top of it, it would be a lowercase m. That's not a coincidence, because we look at it standing up, reading our words from left to right, and seeing our shapes the way they look. But if you would just lay it on the ground, it would be a 13, but it would look like a lowercase m. So, what does this all matter? And why does a 1 look like a half an eye with a slanted top to the left? Because it's the beginning of where we're coming from 0, and we're having like sort of a little hangman without a guy on it, just that sloped 1 to the left coming out of the 0. And the 1 doesn't go to the right at the top because the 2 comes from the right at the top and swoops back down like a backward C. And the little swoop loop at the bottom that continues it forward on the bottom line is just to move forward into the 3, which is now where we get into standing up lowercase m, basically. Let's skip past those. Now, 3 of those makes a 9. A 1 with that top slant to the left, if you straightened out that top slant and just continued it out to the right, it would make an I, which is the 9th letter. 3 threes, and we have 1, which is an I tilted without continuing to the right, because we always read to the right. So if we go 1 and then we're going to the right with more than 1, we have 2. And in life, you don't have to write it down and read it from left to right, so we don't need to do that kind of stuff out in the physical world. But in our mental, in our subtle vibrational world, we have so much going on that I see on a normal basis. But it's nothing super fantastic to me. It's normal. And it's sort of like I'm seeing and understanding nature on a level where it's so advanced that other people around me seem stupid because they're literally just doing what people tell them. And then they're like, "Oh, that's what we do." I mean, it's not what we do. It's what you've been made to do. And if you can't accept that, then it's just because you don't want to face the facts that you hate the truth that you've been lied to your whole life. And not in a way that everybody did it on purpose, because a lot of those people did it because they were lied to too, or just taught the wrong way. Let's put it that way. Let's not say it's lies. Let's just say we've all been taught that we have to do stuff that we don't have to do. We don't have to do that. None of it. We shouldn't have materialistic boutiques. We shouldn't have what's the best this, what's the best that, the greatest at this, the greatest of all time, the winner of the game, who's going to be the trophy holder, who's going to be the champion of the world. You will never be the champion of the world. That's a moment in time that you fiend for so you can feel important. Guess what? Your whole life, because you have a spirit inside your body and you could possibly do something great for everyone in the real living world, you've always been the champion of the world. You just didn't think you could, because the people that held you back from being a champion made you feel that without money and material and status, that it can't be done. So what I see is a bunch of can't be done champions, because they're just doing what everyone else told them to do and tried to qualify at one of the things that we consider cool, or one of the things that we consider good to do. Hey, you're the world's greatest swimmer. Why don't you just swim because you love swimming, not because you want to compete against other people to see that you're better? Why are you the strongest weightlifter? So that you can show off to people and say, hey, look I'm the best at this, and I always wanted to be this since I was young. I always wanted to be the strongest. You're not. That's a couple things. Somebody could still kick your ass. Doesn't mean you're the best fighter. You know what I mean? And that stuff doesn't matter anyway. We're all buffooned, and it's not our fault. So I'm not trying to put anyone down, but it sounds like I am. It's just I look around, and that's what I see. And I feel like if I was honest, completely honest, I'd be insulting everybody by making them feel unintelligent. So I don't talk about the advanced things that I know because they wouldn't understand it. So when people say, well, explain to me how it all began, I'm like, I can't tell you because you wouldn't understand it. It would make a lot of sense. And you'd go, whoa, I'm still trying to gather all the stuff you said at the beginning. I do that to the people when I get deep into it and I start talking about things in big, long speeches about how it works and how it happened and this, they would look at me and go, wow, and listen. And I'm like, it makes sense, don't you? I'm like, do you get it? And they're like, well, I got it, but I get this part, but the rest of it is just so much. My mind's still trying to assemble the meanings to all the other stuff and put it together and just comprehend all this vast, ba-boom to my nervous system and my brain, and I understand. This is my life all the time. And my parents do know that I'm being so completely true and honest that it's weird to me that they won't help me help people. But it's because they live in this world too, and people would consider them stupid, or people would look at them and make fun of them. So they'd rather save their own status or their own little piece of not wanting to get out and feel uncomfortable to help their son teach the world how to actually be a world that cares about itself. That's what we need. People who stand up and say our governments and our people that are doing all this stuff aren't working towards making it so the world can get along, love each other, and communicate and cooperate and all that kind of great stuff. They're actually doing things to keep us against each other so that they can benefit off of offering you solutions. And then they scare you so they can offer you more solutions. And if you won't take their solutions, they'll force them on you because they have power. This has been happening way longer than this little pandemic and all this scam shit that we're doing to each other. This has been going on since the beginning. It's just we can advance our scams and our scandals as we advance our technology. That's all it is. We have advanced technology so we can have advanced technology. That's what it is. I'm not saying technology is bad. We've just been doing a lot of stupid things with it. And we need to grow up, not just grow up, wise up. Start learning the truth, and don't be afraid to learn the truth and stand up for the truth. If you know what is true, why would you lie to yourself and everybody else just so that nobody makes fun of you, and you don't want anyone to. You don't want anyone to laugh at you or think that you're silly or not understand you. Well, this happened to me without me trying. I didn't try. I didn't study this. I didn't learn this from anybody. I didn't see it on a YouTube video. I didn't learn it from an ancient master. It was put into my head through eternity. So I can't remember, I can remember, but I can't put two things apart to the point where I think that I'm Dan and that the weeds are the weeds and we don't live off of the same source. I can't think that way at all because I know we do. If you don't live off of the same source that I do, I don't know what the hell planet I'm on or what universe we're in. These words we use, I know that we're not on a planet and we're not in a universe. I know what we really are. But people can't understand it because they've been told too many other things and they can't erase those thoughts from their mind because they've seen them, felt them, touched them, heard them. We've seen, felt, touched, and heard other things that aren't even here anymore. So we can understand that. Until 30 years goes by and you vaguely have any memory of it or you forget it altogether, you're not going to be able to forget that there were once cassette tapes. If you were born as a child and you right now, today, and you never heard of one, never saw one, never whatever, you wouldn't fathom it. You wouldn't think about it, and you would really believe that there was never such thing, and it would be new to you in 200 years from now. Think about that. Do you know that we've done the most advanced things ever way before now? And we'll never get to those points because we don't care about each other enough to do it. I know how we could get to a point where we would be way more advanced than any technology kind of thing we have now. We'd be using mind technology where we don't have to do it, touch it, affect it. It'll happen for us. We'll experience it, feel it. Stimulation to our body, not simulation to our computer system. That's how silly we have been. We've turned ourselves into thinking that we're a simulation of something. What would we be a simulation of? We are the living spirit itself, learning from itself always. So then if you would just say God becoming a human being so he could understand and feel physically, yeah, you could call that a simulation. That's a fucking stupid word for people to get their minds hooked on because, yeah, everything could be a simulation in some sort. Hey, I made dinner yesterday. It was really good. I used these ingredients. Well, what was it? I'll do it today the way I did it yesterday. I'll simulate what I did before so that you can see it. So then you can experience what I did. Or else I can tell you how to do it step by step so it can be simulated to you. Or, by my use of words, it can stimulate it into your body and you can simulate those words. You can do the same. Simulate, You can act like that. Everything you do is a simulation, dipshit. So science needs to get their head out of their fucking asses and stop confusing themselves first. So they stop confusing people who are less quote-unquote intelligent because they didn't learn the same words and rules, which nobody's more intelligent than anybody. Everybody's just as capable, but some people aren't as capable or even interested in learning the crap that they teach. That's the issue, guys. If things were fun, people would enjoy. If things made sense, people would understand because they make sense. But when people are forced to learn things that didn't make sense when they were young, but now do them as if they make sense, that's why we're all stressed out. That's a big reason. That's a huge, huge, huge reason. You can climb a tree. Trees are really fun to climb. You can use firewood if you need to stay warm. You can do certain things and cooperate with nature peacefully. You don't have to rape nature. We're basically raping our environment, raping our planet, and not caring. Because a bunch of people with suits who look dignified and all kinds of professional are lying and basically killing where we are. And other people say, that's because there's demon entity spirits that take over bodies from other galaxies that you don't see in the invisible realm and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you could put those words on it. That's your negative thinking, God. And guess what, gods? Your negative thinking becomes negative words that become negative ideas, that become negative pictures, that become negative movies, that become negative memories, and now become negative experiences. That's what we're doing to ourselves over cosmic time, because time is the cause of the creator. There's no such thing. There never will be a time where time is time. It's just a way that we can move forward in progression so that we could do something. Now, these things are so unfathomable when you get down to the terms that don't speak in English or any language that we've had on this planet, so I can't tell people how they work because they're shapes, and you'd have to speak shapes. Think about the letter W. The letter W looks like two V's. We call it W, but it's a V with an A in the center and a V coming off of the other side. So the line down for the first V now meets at the bottom of where an A would be. Now you make a slope up like a V or like an A, a slope down like an A, which is the opposite side or the first side of a second V. So we see that it looks like two V's together as a W, but take that little triangle in the center, or not the triangle, but the up pointing arrow in the center shaped like an A without the line between it. That's an A. That's why some languages have used V's, or W's, for vowels. We just don't in English, but the word vowel is V-O-W-E-L. The word vowel has a W in the center. Has anyone thought about that? I know they've noticed, but have they thought about why? Vow, V-O-W. I vow, E-L, expressing life, or expressing ling, or language. But we don't think deep enough and really learn deep enough. Your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s have made you your whole life and always will, because your thoughts will come now in words. Your words will now come in letters and numbers, and those things will always create the patterns you think them. And then those go into a cosmic shape interpreting, motion and feeling interpreting See, I'm trying to put these into words, and it's almost impossible, but you can see it. That's what I'm trying to teach you, is how to see it beyond the words. Because once you see it beyond the words, you use the words right. You don't go around saying, we got to do this because this must be done. The boss said to... You wouldn't even say that. You'd be like, the boss. There's no such thing as a boss. The only boss is you to yourself. And if somebody asks you, you can, and you tell them, and you're really great at it. I guess we could use the word for a slang word, like great at it, and say, he's the boss at it. But you should never let somebody tell you what to do unless you ask them. Or unless you're in a situation where their guidance is going to save you, help you, or be of assistance. But we should not allow ourselves to be bullied and pushed around anymore. None of us. And that's why I'll probably end up being put away. I don't believe that I will. But I just worry because no one else seems to be standing up for the truth. Not me, because I am the truth. I'm not saying stand up for Dan, but stand up for the truth, which would be standing up for me, standing up for what I'm talking about, standing up for what I am, for what God is, what we're supposed to do with this world. If you think we're supposed to wreck it, then you're foolish. If you don't believe that we're supposed to heal ourselves and learn how to make the world better, then what do you think you're alive for? To ruin it? That's an idea. You're not a demon from another realm. Those are words. And you got ideas. And now you're confused. And you can't take away what you've thought and you've learned. And what you've learned doesn't mean it's real. It just means it's R-E-E-L real in your brain. And now it's becoming R-E-A-L real out in your life. Although it's not. It's just you have to overcome your fears and the things that you've produced for yourself. Start sitting out in the dark and realizing that it's the same thing that's in the daytime, except, yes, there are some things that come out at nighttime that don't come out during the day. But sit there. If something all of a sudden comes over and grabs you or tackles you or hurts you, then confront it. See what happens. See what's going to go on. Don't think that there is going to be something like that. And don't do it in a place where there's mad men running around going, woo, like killer clowns or something. And I would say we have to work on a source where these people wouldn't go around doing these things if they didn't learn about these things. If they never saw a killer clown, do you think somebody would be a killer clown? No. If we didn't make silly makeup and silly disguises and silly this, which are great for entertaining, I guess, we got to play characters because we get bored. Wouldn't you be bored if life didn't have any jugglers or cannonball people? No, but at the same time, what else would we do? And the answer is no one here will ever know. I know because I've been to galaxies where we didn't have circuses. I've been to galaxies where we don't have any of the stuff that we have here. Everything's completely different. So trying to explain it wouldn't make any sense. At all. At all. So, I mean, right near on Earth we have the example. Imagine if you were people, but we lived in water, but we walked without floating. But the water wasn't as thick as it, or it was like we walk in water. I'm not even going to get into it because I'm trying to put things into words that make no sense to other people because they're not words. They're actually spiritual symbolism, spiritual actions. And we take those spiritual actions and we use wind. And wind, which is our voice, and our movement is wind. Our breathing and our talking and our thinking is actually movement of wind from what motion we have. And our breathing helps motion. When we stop that breathing and really hold it long enough so that our blood flow slows, our heart slows down, and these kind of things happen, we connect more to that non-moving, non-physical into the spiritual. That's why they say to sit and meditate and get calm. You're not going to have a big experience of other than your mind going on a big reel and teaching you a bunch of stuff that you assimilated together. It's basically going to teach you peace, love, and if you think about other galaxies and other space systems, that's what you're going to say they are. Like, no matter who you are, you're going to give yourself some kind of explanation in our words, and then you're also going to say, but it's beyond words. Of course. And that's what I'm telling you, is that the ones that you're putting into words are just parts of your mind. Whether you like to admit it or not, they're just parts of your mind. The rest of it isn't words. It's never been words at all. We've used them to create. So God, what we have out there to see, G-O-D, God, what we've got in front of us, is the word, because that's how we explain it. And that's why I say God is the best word to explain that power that we all are. It doesn't mean it has to be an out there being. It's an in here having. It's an in here knowing. It's an in here wisdom. And at that point, it is an in here creator. You are God. Nobody isn't. There's not a thing that isn't part of that, just at different degrees. Different degrees doesn't mean status. Different degrees doesn't mean, how much money you make. Different degrees means truth. How much you've realized it, how much you know it, and how much you've truly experienced it. When you've experienced it, I can't think of anything else but that. 24/7, the love of our Creator. That's what I can't get my mind out of it, because that's where my mind is. That's what my mind has always been. And as a human being, this wasn't how I felt before. I never would have dreamed of feeling this true and this great and this pure. No matter what I put in my body now, I feel pure because I am. I'm purity. I understand that, yes, God is every person who's ever done a drug, every person who's ever murdered, every person who's ever done anything, every animal, every plant, every society of gruesome being or aborigine who has eaten each other, who's tortured and tormented, who's loved and who's cherished. I know all that. So I don't blame people for being where they are. I just want to help them when they make mistakes. They just don't want to listen. And they're allowed. But if they get mad at me and try to threaten me and hurt me and harm me over it, then what's the point of trying to help? I'm not here to try to help the wrong people so that the right people who care, everybody's the right people. So I want to help everybody. That's the issue. Nobody's wrong to me, but at the same time, I got to find people who are actually interested in growing and evolving and healing and learning how to love each other the correct way and healing our world. That's what I really need to find. And people, that's so bold to say. People don't want to hear someone say that because then it makes them feel like, who does this guy think he is? And I know who I am and I know who you are. I'm going to leave it at that because it's already 21 minutes. So I love you guys. Just about 22 minutes. So I'll talk to you later. Peace.